Guys Wednesday, everybody.
And Paul is here from the U of I Physics Department to teach us about
how things float. So this is hopefully a two-parter. So we will continue next week with hot air balloons. Because it turns out in a couple weeks is the big festival down in St. Louis.
Very exciting.
World's largest hot air balloon festival. So the whole thing about balloons is, you know, they go up, they rise. And so we want to understand, why do things sink or why do things float, basically. So
I like it.
Right, so you might think, well, on the simplest things float because they're light and they sink because they're heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Yeah, the counterexample of that, though, is that a battleship is very heavy, but floats, otherwise, unless, you know, someone pokes a hole in it and it fills with water and then it sinks.
Sure.
And if I have something light like a penny, then, of course, that's light, but it
Did you make a wish?
I did not make a wish. I should have. Okay, I wish I had made a wish.
There you go.
Okay, so really the thing that matters more is the density of the material.
Okay.
So the density is the mass divided by the volume.
Got it.
You might think that, well, okay, something that is then high density will sink or float. High density will sink, and low density hopefully will float.
Yes.
And that's true, and I can demo that with these two Coke cans.
All right.
So it turns out you don't need a lot of water to float something. You can actually float you can float a battleship in a cup of water as long as the cup is exactly shaped like the battleship, and then it just has a little bit. So I don't have a lot of water here, but I have enough. And what we will see here, hopefully, there we go. What we see is that the Coke actually sinks, but the Diet Coke floats because actually the Diet Coke is a little bit lighter. The sugar substitute is a little bit lighter than the
Is that true? For real?
Yeah.
Like that is.
Well, you
well, I mean,
yes.
but you pushed it down.
No, I pushed it down just because I wanted to make sure there's no air caught under the tab.
Gotcha.
So if you push that down, will it come back up?
There we go.
Okay, good. You guys are skeptical. That's
well, we need to see it.
Okay, no, that's great. So, but it turns out that's not really the only story, because when we talk about something being high density or low density, we really mean always relative to something else. What is it relative to? So in this case, it's relative to whatever the surrounding fluid is. So what I'm going to do is take this out.
Got it.
And I am going to dump out the water, and I'm going to replace it.
Oh, we lost the penny.
And my penny. I'm going to replace it with this blue stuff, which is just pure ethyl alcohol with some blue food coloring, just so we can
tell the difference.
Keep track of it. It's not Gatorade. If you drink this, you'd be in trouble.
Please do not drink that.
Please do not drink that. Okay, so I'm just going to dump this in.
Thank goodness.
And we see that now, because alcohol has a lower density than water, now when I put this in, now this actually sinks.
Ooh.
So this is a good way, if you're at a party, to find out if someone is trying to mess with you, because if I have ice, we know that ice in water will float, but ice in pure alcohol, at least, will sink. So if someone gives you a drink and you put ice in it and the ice sinks, probably too much alcohol. You probably shouldn't drink that.
That's a really good party trick there.
So we are on to my favorite,
my
favorite puzzles, favorite demos. Takes only 10 seconds to make. I have a bottle of water, and I have a soy sauce packet, and I'm just going to put the soy sauce packet in the bottle, and I'm just going to tighten the lid on this thing.
Oh man!
And you are going to squeeze this for all you're worth.
Squeeze it?
Yep. Go ahead. And hold it. Squeeze and hold. Squeeze and hold.
I am. What's supposed to be happening?
No, it's happening. It's happening. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so I squeeze, and the soy sauce packet sinks, and I let go. So what happens is, as I squeeze it, I'm reducing the volume. I can't change the volume of the liquid because it's incompressible, but I decrease the volume of the air. That increases the pressure, and in particular, the air packet at the top of the soy sauce packet. There's a little air pocket, and I'm putting more pressure on that. It's decreasing its volume. Therefore, the volume is going down, so the density is going up, and if the density is more than the density of the surrounding water, then it sinks. And when I release the pressure on it, then the density becomes less than the density of the surrounding water, and it rises. This is why when you swim, because I said this is going to help you understand why you swim, so when you swim, when your air is full of lungs, you float. When you exhale, you are actually lighter when you exhale because you don't have the air molecules inside of you. You're lighter, but your volume has gone down by a lot bigger factor, so your density has gone up, and that's why you sink.
Wow.
Wow.
We'll learn a lot today.
And you can do this at home.
You can do this at home, guys. Get a bottle of water and a soy sauce packet and learn all about density.
There you go. Any size thing you want.
Size.
This one might be easier to squeeze.
One?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Squeeze it.
Well, you guys, I'm not that. Okay, yeah, it worked.
There you go.
You're perfect. Of course it
You
worked.
got it.
Good job.
That's strong, apparently.
Good job.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Paul.
Learning every week. Next week, we're learning about hot air balloons.
Yep, hopefully.
Cool.
And if you have any suggestions, questions, ideas for what our wise guys should talk about, always send us messages
Yes.
on Facebook.
Yes,
Sounds good.
please.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. We'll be right back.